Okay, today we're going to be writing linear inequalities. If you have not opened up your Google Slides yet, go ahead and open them up and split your screen so that you're watching this video at the same time that you're doing your own notes. Okay, whatever I do on here, you do it on yours, and you can also write it down on paper if you'd like. We've already talked about graphs of linear inequalities. Like we've talked about what the line underneath means. Right? We know that the line underneath means a solid line. And then if it doesn't have a line underneath, those will be a dashed line. We know that. We also know that if it's shaded above, those are greater than numbers, right? If it's shaded above the line, those are greater. And my pen is messing up, but it's okay. And then if it's shaded below the line, those are less than. So we're going to take these inequality symbols and we're going to put them over here so that we know when we're looking at these graphs what symbol to use. So solid line is going to be one of these two. If it's shaded above, it's greater than. So I'm going to move my greater than or equal to here. That symbol means it's going to be shaded above and it's going to be a solid line. If I move the less than or equal to here, that means it's going to be a solid line and it's going to be shaded below. The other two are going to look similar to these two. So greater than goes here. That's going to be shaded above, but it's going to have a dashed line. And less than, I'm going to move it here. That's going to be shaded below, but it's going to have a dashed line as well. Okay? Then we're going to use the slope-intercept form to figure out the slope, which is the rise over run, and we've done it plenty of times, and the B, which is our Y-intercept. So I'm going to help you along with a few, and then you're going to do a few on your own, so pay attention. All right, let's click on slide number 2. I'm going to erase this really quickly because that was from the other slide. And the first thing I know, you can do any of the three things. You can first put in the inequality symbol, you can first do the slope, or you can do the Y-intercept first. I think the easiest one is always the Y-intercept, right? Because you can tell where the Y-intercept is as long as it's crossing the Y-axis. So my Y-intercept is -2. So you can either write it down or you can come over here and drag the -2 in place of B. Okay? Another thing that's really easy for me is just to look at, this is a solid line and it's shaded above. How can you tell that it's shaded above? You just draw little arrows. Is it shaded up or is it shaded down? Right? So it's shaded above. So if I look at my notes, shaded above, solid line, it's this one. So I'm going to take this inequality, greater than or equal to, and I'm going to put it right there. And I think the one that's the hardest for everybody, but maybe not, is the slope. Okay, so we're going to do rise over run. I already know that I have a point right here, but you have to find another pretty point. So if I go down, here's another pretty point right here. Okay, from here to here. How much do I rise and how much do I run? Well, Miss, you didn't rise, you went down. Okay, so that's a -2. I rose -2. That means I went down 2 and I went over 1, right? So if I write that down, -2 is my rise and I ran 1 to the right. Divide those two. -2 divided by 1 is just -2. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to drag another -2 in place of my slope. And sometimes it doesn't drag right where you want it to. All right, so if I rewrite that, okay, what would it look like? Well, it's y greater than or equal to negative 2x, but then there's a plus and a negative 2, so that means that's a minus 2. Remember, plus and negative is just a minus. All right, let's do another one. So I'm going to erase all of this. Oops. Erase all of this. Let's go to slide number 3. Slide number 3. Okay, so what do you want to do first? Well, I can clearly see that it crosses the y-axis at a positive 1, right? That's my y-intercept, which is my b right here. So I'm going to take a positive 1 and drag it over. Okay, then the next easiest thing for me is that this is a solid line and it's shaded below the line. It's shading down, right? So the inequality symbol I'm going to use is less than or equal to. Okay, place it right there. And then let's do the slope. So we have to find another pretty point. Okay, so here's my pretty point. That's not a pretty point. That's not a pretty point. That is a pretty point. So right here, here's the next one. Okay, so from here to here, how much do I rise and how much do I run? Again, my rise is going down because this is a negative slope, right? If you look at the slope, man, this is going down. So that's why it's a negative 1. And then I went over 1, 2, 3, 3 to the right. So my rise over run is negative 1 over 3. If you type that in decimals, it will not reduce it for you. That is the lowest it goes. So I'm going to come over here and drag my negative 1/3 and put it in place of my slope. And then we can rewrite it. So let's rewrite my inequality is y less than or equal to negative 1/3 x plus 1. Okay, so again, you can, and if this was answer choices, if this was multiple choice, you can really just eliminate wrong answers just by looking at the y-intercept, the inequality symbol, and the slope. All right, so let's go to the next one. Let me erase this. Let's go to slide number 4. This is a dotted line, and look at where the y-intercept is. The y-intercept is at negative 2, so bam, I already have one answer. Grab the negative 2, slide it over. And then I know that it's a dotted line. I know that it's shaded below. So it has to be this one, less than. Put it where it goes. And now all we have to do is find the slope. Oh, the slope, the slope. Okay, so the next pretty point I see is there. There's another one there. There's another one there. There's another one there. There's a ton. So what's happening every time I rise and run? Rise and run. How much am I rising and how much am I running? Right? 1 over 1, which equals to 1. When you divide 1 divided by 1, you just get a positive 1. And this is a positive slope is going up, right? So we're going to grab the positive 1 and we're going to put it over here. And then I'm going to rewrite my inequality and do it like this. Y less than 1x plus negative 2, that's a minus 2. So notice two things. I don't need the 1. That's an invisible 1 if there's no number to 1. And I also don't need the plus if there's already a minus there. So it's just minus 2. Okay? Let's do maybe 2 more. Let's go to slide number 7. Let's do slide number 7. Oh, this is a hard one, huh? Y'all think it's hard? It's not hard at all. First of all, the y-intercept is right there at 5. So let's drag my 5 here. Okay? Second of all, it's shaded up, right? And it's a solid line. So I know that my inequality symbol has to be greater than or equal to because it's shaded above and it has a solid line. So move that over. And then my favorite part. Remember slope man? Do you remember slope man? This is a positive, this is a negative, this is an undefined slope, and this is a, what is that? A zero slope. This is zero slope because it's a horizontal line. You guys should have known that. And some of you did. Let's drag my 0 here. Now, what happens when you have 0x? When you have 0x, the x goes away. That means you don't need it anymore. It's gone. Scratch it. Okay? So all you have left over is y greater than or equal to 5. That was easier than we thought. Okay, let's do one more. And then you get to go practice some of this. Let's do this one. No, this one. Let's do slide number 9. Okay, let's do this one quicker. What's my y-intercept? 0. Bring the 0 over. All right, because it's right there at 0. And then the slope, rise over run. 1 over 1. 1 over 1 equals 1. So drag the 1 over. Hey, this looks very much like the parent function to me. And then we're going to figure out this is shaded below, and it's a solid line, so it's a less than or equal to. Okay, so when I rewrite this, it's y less than or equal to 1x plus 0. I don't have to put the 1 and I don't have to put the 0. So this is the parent function and it's shaded below and it's a solid line. So it equals to the parent function or less than the parent function.